when we talk about, like, when I talk to my fellow CEOs about, like, what's working and what's not working in your business, and I talk about Rise25 and what you guys have done for us, what I really say is, like, you know, it's really soup to nuts. Like, they're doing all of the heavy lifting. Like, yeah, you have to do the podcast, but like they're doing everything else. There was an ideal customer for us. She kind of was really someone who checked a bunch of boxes for us. She was someone who was going to potentially generate a lot of revenue for us, but also someone who was a key influencer in our industry. The kind of person that, if she were to choose to talk about using our services, other people would take note. We would get other customers out of that. And we'd had some initial contact with her. We'd had some, what I would have considered to be some good, dialogue and traction. But, at the end of the day, I always say, in business, you don't score points for good conversations or great meetings. We had not signed her up. She had not become a customer, and she'd kind of gone dark on us too. We'd had some good calls and some good feedback, but then all of a sudden, we're sending an email, no response. And this was right when we met you guys, and we were like, ooh, she's the perfect person, because she's already an influencer. She's already a public speaker. She speaks at, conferences and knows how to build her own brand. Like, this is perfect. So instead of sending another email, like, which is some version of what I was making fun of at the beginning of this call, like, will you give us money? We said, hey, we're launching this podcast, the In Your Face podcast, and, we'd love to have you as a guest. And all of a sudden, we got a response. And so, we did that. We got this great response. And so we interviewed her, and we had a wonderful interview, and it really went great. And before we even sent that follow-up email with, hey, the podcast is live and here's the link, we literally get an email from her, CCing her office manager, we're ready to sign up. And it was so awesome. And at least for my business partner, Blair, and I, there was no doubt in our mind that the podcast was what, kind of pushed things over the edge and took her from a, prospective client to a customer.
And it gives us a ballpark of the value of this opportunity for us, for all those listening.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, not only would I call her potentially, $100,000 a year of revenue for us, but I would say in some ways she's potentially way more valuable than that, because she is an influencer, and, people do follow what she does, and that number hopefully should only go higher than that. So I know you're going to now assume that means we've signed a 10-year contract.
I was going to say, yeah, should I send the 20-year contract to you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it certainly hopefully is paid for your services in perpetuity.
For a long period of time. So we'll be working together for a while. Well, I hope that it will just be the beginning, and there will be many more after this. And yeah, I remember receiving the email from you saying she signed up, and you just sounded so excited about it. So I was just thrilled for you.
Yeah, look, I mean, we signed up with you, I mean, at the end of December during the holiday period. It's the middle of February. If you don't really count the holidays, I mean, it hasn't even been 2 months. It's probably been closer to 4 weeks than 8 weeks, and we've already had this like kind of smashing success.
Yeah, that's absolutely
and
wonderful.
We basically launched the podcast like a week ago. So, I mean, it's really been tremendous.
What would you say to someone who's considering it?
Oh, I mean, to me, I think it's a no-brainer. As long as you're comfortable talking to people, you guys do so much of the heavy lifting, all of the technical stuff that you might be afraid of. You shouldn't be afraid of, because you guys do that for you. So it's in the email templates to the people you would otherwise talk to, like everything is done for you. You really just have to be that person to say, hey, thanks so much for being on the show, and just to have a couple of questions that you're ready to ask. As long as you are not, a shut-in, I think it's a total no-brainer. I mean, I love that. I can't remember if it was you or your partner, Jeremy, said your goal was for us to get our ROI before the show even launched. We were within a day of that. Like, I mean, it was just a total no-brainer. And that first customer, like we said, is, pays for what you guys, we're paying you times 10.